I'm going to talk through parts of what we're doing, and I want to have it recorded so I can put it on the school place afterwards. What we're looking at right now is we're in Act 3, and I assigned last week I said I want you to read Scene 1 and watch Scene 1 because that's the to be or not to be segment. And I wanted it to be in your head. I wanted you to be familiar with it a little bit before we got together. And then today what we're going to do is I'm going to talk you into that section, that speech. Then I'm going to send you to YouTube to see my lecture on that. Okay, and it's just on that speech. And then you're going to come back here, and I'm going to talk about the rest of the scene. Okay, so Scene 1 kind of has 3 sections to it today. And then once we're done with those 3 sections of Scene 1, then I'm going to give you the rest of the time to work on your reading assignment, which is up here on the board right now. Let me explain it this way. There's 4 scenes in this act, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we're going to do Scene 1 in class. The remaining 3, I want you to watch all 3, but I only want you to read 2 of them. And it's real specific what's going on. The videos are video 9, 10, and 11. The one that I had you watch over the weekend was video 8, right? Video 9, if you recall, there are actors coming to put on a play. And Hamlet said, I'm going to have them act a certain way, act like the murder of my father, and see if it makes the king look guilty. Because if it does, then I know that I should kill him, more or less. And that scene, clip 9, scene 2, is just that play. And the thing is, it takes a lot of pages. There's actually quite a bit of reading. And really, a lot of it is inside jokes for Shakespearean theater district. Okay, it's like if you ever watch a movie like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, for example, it's a movie about making movies. It's a movie about movie stars. It's a movie about the business. That whole scene is basically a scene about the business. And sure, it's interesting and unusual in a historical sense. It's kind of fun to look at if you have a couple of days to plow through it. And we don't need it for that. What we need it for is to show that Claudius does act guilty, and he is guilty of killing the king. That's what it does. You can get that by watching it. Don't bother reading it, okay? I don't even know what page numbers it is. It ends, that scene ends on page 66. So don't read that scene. But the next 2 scenes, scene 3 and 4, they are film clip 10 and 11. Those 2 you should read. Okay, and that's pages 66 to 75, so it's only 9 pages, and again, it's half of the page. But that right there, that screen, that's your reading assignment that I'm going to have you do last on your way out the door. But I wanted you to understand why it is specifically the way it is while you're all right here, while we're talking about it, okay? So let's... back on this screen, it said, first we're going to view and read scene 1. Then I'll let you go do that. Okay, so let's look at Act 3, Scene 1. In short, it's Rosencrantz and Guildenstern reporting to the king and queen, Hamlet thinking out loud, and the king and Polonius listening in. Okay, that was their plan. And then Claudius and Polonius listening in when he meets with Hamlet, Hamlet and Ophelia meet together. That's what they wanted to listen to. So that's what the scene is, the whole scene. However, there's I want to just talk through the Rosencrantz and Guildenstern thing, just that first part, and then the middle part where he's doing To Be or Not to Be. That part I have a video set up for you. Okay, so it starts with the king and the queen. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern come and they say basically, he tells us that he's upset. He won't say why. He did kind of tell them that he wasn't happy with human beings, with the way people were. And that makes sense because he's not happy with his Uncle Dad, and he's not happy with his mom, Auntie Mom. They both are disappointing to him. And while he's at it, you Rosencrantz and you Guildenstern, you don't make me too happy either. He doesn't say this out loud, but he did make them confess that they're spying on him. So people have disappointed and upset him. He did say that. But Rosencrantz and Guildenstern say, yeah, he acts all sneaky when we try and trick it out of him, like as if he knows what we're talking about, or like as if he knows something, okay? Now, an interesting thing. You may recall Hamlet told Rosenstern, okay, the shorthand for Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. Hamlet told Rosenstern that he was faking madness, that it's all just an act. He said, I know I'm sane when the wind is blowing one direction and I act crazy when it's blowing the other. So I know what I'm doing. Now, does that mean he's like telling people his plan? Well, what better way to not look crazy than to say you're not crazy? So he can tell anyone he wants that, and it doesn't matter. So he's kind of having fun with that. It does not damage his plan to say that to Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. It almost ramps it up, okay? So when he says that, don't worry about that. I mean, what would you say if your friend said, no, I'm not crazy, really, I just act that way? Yeah, you know. Now, right at the end of this little bit is when Rosencrantz and Guildenstern tell the king and queen, oh, there's some actors coming in, and he seemed like he was happy about that. We know why he's happy about that. He's happy about that because he's going to set up the play to trick the king into looking guilty. So yeah, that makes him happy. He didn't tell Rosenstern that. But I just wanted to clarify something about these actors. I don't remember if I said it to you before, but I'm going to say it now for sure. At least it's on camera, so you can look back at it later. The traveling actors, or they call them players because they put on plays. Traveling players are a common thing during Hamlet's time period, during Macbeth's time period, during the time period of history that Shakespeare is writing about. He's writing about things that are 500 years old when he's writing about them, okay? During Shakespeare's time, you may recall I mentioned that the acting companies, the players, owned their own buildings, owned their own theaters. And they did not do that back in Hamlet's time. They talk about it like as if they do. That's like I say, that's all part of that stuff that I don't want to worry about us thinking of. The simple fact is that actors would travel around and appear at a castle and say, we want to play a movie for you. We want to do an act. We want to act for you. And all you have to do is feed us and house us and give us a little bit of gold. And we have like 8 or 9 different plays. Which one do you want to see? And then they could play it. It's like a traveling VCR rental guy that sits there and watches the movie with you. You know, he brings in the VCR and says, "Hey, I got 25 tapes. Which one you?" And you plug it in and you watch it. And then he eats your popcorn, then he goes. That's what the actors were like, okay? But everyone loved it because there was no movies. There was no radio. I mean, that's exactly how entertainment was designed to work, okay? So that's what's going on. So them coming to play there makes perfect historical sense. In the scene, this scene 1, after they explained to the king and queen, Rosenstern explained to the king and queen, that's what's going on. Then Polonius says, okay, we're getting ready to spy on Hamlet. So let's set this up. And then we shift into spying on Hamlet. Now, this video that you're going to watch, it's really specific about this one section, and it's really one of the coolest. I think it's one of the coolest sections in the play, if not the coolest, because of the way the sort of the way it's set up and what's actually happening. It's like there's 3 different angles to it. And you'll see what I mean when you watch it. It's from last year. The video's from last year. And the reason is I'm only talking about that little section. So it doesn't have the parallel text. Okay. It just has the original. But I talk through it line by line. I actually do it twice for various reasons. So I'm not worried about you not having the normal script next to you. The other thing about it is, for some reason, by the end of the last page of it, the Apple Pen is not registered quite in the right spot. So the lines are a little bit off, but I don't know why. But it's not like a huge deal. You just sort of put up with the circles being on the wrong words. You can see what I'm talking about. And it's about 24 minutes long. So as soon as I let you go here, I can give you a half an hour exactly. And you can go and you can watch this video on this important part of the play. Grab a cup of coffee and come back here in exactly 30 minutes. And then I can talk you down out of that and into the final section of scene 1, which is also cool and important. Okay. But it's not on that video. It's actually in class right here. Okay. Then when we're done with that, I'll let you go. So it says right now that it is 106. Let's say it's 107. That means that at 137 or maybe 38, you have had plenty enough time to watch this and make it back here. Okay. So starting now, go away for 30 minutes. Watch that video. It's in the folder, today's folder. Watch it, be back here at 138. 138. Okay? Go do that, then come here. Thank you. See you in a little bit.